pounds to take me like 3 miles to the Hyatt. And we're just refusing. They said, no, we only go to London. And they just hated us so much. It was just, and finally, after I sat there, and I even got it on video, I never put it out. I finally, a British guy pulls up and he goes, no, they're not supposed to do that. You know, it's the law. They're supposed to take you wherever you want. That's why they pull up here at the airport, but they gouge everybody. And he goes, where are you going? And I said, the Hyatt, 3 miles away. And he goes, that'll be 6 pounds. That's like $10. I got in, gave the guy a tip of like 10 extra pounds. And he apologizes, an old guy, out loading our bags out, and he goes, it's kind of sad, you know, but it just gets worse. But I'll try to say something about it, but they sure give everybody a hard time, and it's not like things used to be here in England. One old English guy, folks, gave me the service and drove me, because that's how he wants to be treated. He don't want to be there and screwed over, but I know I'm a kafir. I know I'm an outsider. I'm a nobody. I'm a subhuman. I deserve to pay you 50 pounds to go 3 miles. What is that, overcharging me 10 times? I deserve to be charged 10 times over by guys wearing freaking pajamas because I'm a white guy. But I saw them doing it to Asians, other people. If you weren't a Muslim, you were a dumbass, and they were all going to sit there and screw you over together. And I've talked to Joe Biggs and others that have been in heavy combat all over, and they say the Muslims weren't like that even in Iraq and places. It's who they're bringing in, folks. They're bringing in vetting, just like the father-in-law or the brother-in-law of the guy at the nightclub at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. He's running a major refugee operation. His dad went to the White House, all this stuff. They're bringing jihadis in. That's why they act like this. And I'll tell you, it is giving, because I've talked to the experts, it's giving regular Muslims a bad name. You can argue all Islam is radical, its Orthodox version is like this, but this is who Hillary's bringing in. This is who she's allied with. This is what she's up to. And I'm going to go to your calls. I apologize. Let me play the Comey clip because I talked about it. I already played the clip where he says no charges for her. We should probably play that just one more time. It's about 20 seconds long. Then I'm going to play FBI director gets into criminal neglect, but then turns around, though, and says no prosecutor would go after her. That is the biggest lie I've ever seen. Here's the no indictment clip.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. Prosecutors necessarily weigh a number of factors before deciding whether to bring charges. There are obvious considerations like the strength of the evidence, especially regarding intent. Responsible decisions also consider the context of a person's actions and how similar situations have been handled in the past. In looking back at our investigations into the mishandling or removal of classified information, we cannot find a case that would support bringing criminal charges on these facts.
Wow, that sets an incredible precedent right there. Total declaration of independence, that they're above the law. Let's go to the next clip. It's about 2 minutes long, and I'm going right to Jerry and others. This is where he lays out, though, what she did. It's far worse than this, but let me tell you, this is not criminal neglect. This is conscious lying to Congress, lying to the FBI, cutting the tops off the secret documents, ordering her staff to engage in crimes. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is like the cops pull up the bank and the bank robbers are walking out with the bags of money in their hands. And there's surveillance footage of them screaming, saying, get on the floor, I'll kill you. I mean, it's open, it's shut. I'll tell you what's open and shut now, that these people are given a green light to go crazy. And then what do you do when you have a lawless government ruling over you? Well, you're smart about it. You don't let them start a civil war so that the resistance is just against the general government itself that's as disgusted as anybody else is. But you got to navigate that, be as wise as wise as a serpent and peaceful as a dove. But at some point, you know, this thing turns into 1776 because they're going to push it. They're going to offensively come for our guns. That's what kicked it all off in 1775 at Lexington and Concord.
That Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information. There is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information. For example, 7 email chains concern matters that were classified at the top secret special access program at the time they were sent and received. Those chains involve Secretary Clinton both sending emails about those matters and receiving emails about those same matters. There is evidence to support a conclusion that any reasonable person in Secretary Clinton's position or in the position of those with whom she was corresponding about those matters should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation. In addition to this highly sensitive information, we also found information that was properly classified as secret by the U.S. intelligence community at the time it was discussed on email. That is, excluding any later up-classified emails. None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, but their presence is especially concerning because all of these emails were housed on unclassified personal servers, not even supported by full-time security staff, like those found at agencies and departments of the United States government, or even with a commercial email service like Gmail. I think it's also important to say something about the marking of classified information. Only a very small number of the emails here containing classified information bore markings that indicated the presence of classified information. But even if information is not marked classified in an email, participants who know or should know that the subject matter is classified are still obligated to protect it. And while not the focus of our investigation, we also developed evidence that the security culture of the State Department, in general, and with respect to the use of unclassified systems in particular, was generally lacking in the kind of care for classified information.
All right, let's stop right there. I'm going to go to your phone calls. Here's the deal. He called it a year ago, Larry Nichols, former Clinton insider. He said that they were having the media push the email thing because they knew how it would end in the end. And that would be a distraction from all the other incredible corruption, the missile secrets, the rapes, Obama and Hillary and the persecution of Christians. But imagine, with everything we've seen, what they're going to do now. It's a big question to ask, because this is truly some of the most open, brazen, above-the-law declaration of tyranny I've ever seen. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry from Washington. You're on the air. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, thanks, Alex. I appreciate your show very much. I've been listening for about 5 years. I'm a government contractor, and I've been working for 5 years, and we have training that we have to do 4 times a year. And in that training list is information protection. The first thing they cover is you cannot store any government information on any cell phones, any other emails. You can't send it to your private email. You can't send it to somebody else's private email unless that email is a business that we are doing business with. This is a choice. This is something when I just heard the first clip you played and the second clip you played, and they're talking about whether it's confidential, whether it's classified information, whatever it is, that's a bunch of bull, okay? Because you have to save every bit of government information.
Sure, it's all compartmentalized, sometimes not even wired into the internet as it gets more classified. And the fact is, Lynch met with Clinton knowing it was illegal last week. That's what I'm saying. They're doing this all on purpose to just set the precedent that they're above the law.
That's exactly what I'm saying. This is a choice because she knew better. She has to take that training. Everybody has to take that training. And the thing of it is she knew you can't delete even one. The only kind of email you can delete is if somebody says they're having a retirement party, something like that. That's the only kind of email you can delete. You cannot. You have to store all government business documents on their servers.
Absolutely. And then she knew it was compromised by foreign governments. It's espionage, folks. Thank you, Jerry. Look, it's like Benghazi. For 13 hours plus, they sit there and watch the stand down take place. For 8 hours, they watch the firefight go on. Everybody who is in the military and understands how that works, or the thousands that saw it on the Predator drone feeds, and the thousands that have since seen the recordings of those feeds, know there was a stand down. We have the witnesses who received the stand down. So we know they're lying, just like we know about the servers. She first said she didn't have separate servers and didn't have separate emails. Remember the head of the Environmental Protection Agency had to resign a few years ago because she had secret emails? They operate outside of government oversight and citizen oversight with these systems. But with Hillary, it goes far further. She knew foreign governments had penetrated. She knew they were getting that data. Now, unless it was some super secret program to feed them disinfo or something, like the Enigma machines or whatever, we know it is espionage. But the fact that they've brought all this out in front of everyone just shows it's just what Larry Nichols said. It's meant to break our will. It's not breaking my will. I'm going to Robert in Tennessee and others here in a moment. I'm not going to belabor this, but we are extending the July 4th Independence Day specials. We are extending those right through this week because folks have really been taking advantage of it. 20 to 40% off all of the super high-quality storable foods at InfoWarsSelect.com or InfoWarsStore.com. 20% off all Alexa Pure water filters, 20% off all Alexa Pure air filters, 20% off Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X Tube. We are extending this. And, folks, it's now time to get prepared. It's now time to get ready with all the global upheaval, you name it. The globalists are instituting economic situations. They're instituting wars. They want to make us dependent on them. It is a no-brainer that we all get prepared and we all get ready. And we're going to fly Hillary for President banners over the RNC and the DNC. The purchase of Hillary for President T-shirts is what helps fund that. And regardless of whether she gets indicted in a federal court, we have indicted her in the court of public opinion, and we are convicting her in this campaign. We must defeat Hillary Clinton. A vote for justice, a vote for people not being above the law. My gosh, we got to get Donald Trump in there. My gosh, Hillary is a crime boss. Imagine what she'll do if we don't kick her out. And they're going to engage in election fraud, but it's hard to beat a landslide. She's already stolen it from Bernie Sanders. This is such a rigged system, just as Donald Trump says. Robert in Tennessee, thanks for holding. What's your take on this?
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Good, my friend. Go ahead.
Good. First of all, I just want to say I'm a big fan. You've woken up myself, to my family, friends, and it's really amazing what you guys over at you and your crew do.
We do have an amazing crew. We do have an amazing crew.
In fact, I just this weekend got my Hillary for Prison shirt in the mail, so
thank you.
I'm looking forward to promoting freedom this upcoming election season. But I just had a quick point and a question I wanted to ask you. I just literally read the news about Hillary not being charged for what she's been criminally been involved in just minutes before you went on air. And I kind of got a sick feeling in my stomach because it just goes to show how corrupt our government really is.
I did too. I got nauseous. I was in a good mood this morning, and then I saw that, and I'm just in a terrible mood now. But I'm not going to let her break my will. She's over the top. She's arrogant. Look how freaked out Comey looked. He looked like a fox caught with a big old rabbit in his mouth, you know, in the rabbit coop or the chicken coop. I mean, he looked like he was freaked out. Look, this isn't good for these crooks. We've reached that moment where the crooks can't help themselves, and they're uncloaking themselves. It's going to get rough, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Good to hear from you, Robert. Sorry to hear you felt sick about that. That's a normal response, though. Kenneth, Vincent, Nick, Brady, stay with us. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I just came screeching into the chair here, working on news during that break. Forgot that was a 70-second break, not a 3-minute one. I'm like running back in here. We've got a bunch of big guests coming up here today. Obviously, we're going to have a panel discussion with Leanne McAdoo and, of course, David Knight and Jakari Jackson at the bottom of this hour. Dr. Jerome Corsi pops in at the start of the next segment. He's got a new book out. We're also going to be talking about this non-indictment and more. Roger Stone has got big news on the Clintons being Chinese communist agents. And Paul Joseph Watson hosts the 4th hour of Overdrive from Her Britannic Majesty's England. So that is all coming up today. Before I go any further, we are going to be taking your phone calls, by the way, interspersed throughout the broadcast. All I'm asking is, like Limbaugh used to say, I understand your listeners, you're supporting us. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you. We couldn't do any of this without you. But when I go to your calls, I really want to hear what you think about what happened with Hillary and the indictment and where you think this country's going. Because it gets a little obscene when we take call after call telling me how great I am. You're great. You're awesome, okay? But listen, I love everybody that loves freedom as well. We're in this together. I think we're going to win it, but we've got to stay focused on fighting the globalist. Kenneth in New York, you're on the air. Go ahead.